Hello everyone. So we're going to do interactive PDFs. So I'm going to create a new document. First of all, I'm going to change the measurement to pixels. This is because we're designing for screens. Screens don't typically use millimeters, so pixels are much more convenient. One of the most common resolutions right now is 1920 by 1080 or 1080p, which is what this resolution is set at. Basically, this is going to look good on a big TV. Remember to turn off bleed. Screens don't have bleed, and that's why you should turn it off. Remember to name your project as well. So basically, RGB, it's on the screen, you measure it in pixels, no bleed, and use common resolutions. There's a blank page. First thing you should do is turn your workspace to interactive for PDF. This is going to give you the relevant options like buttons and things like that. I'd put on your character and paragraph options as well, as they don't come up as standard in interactive. Do the same for styles, preferably character and paragraph. Drag them in and you pretty much got a usable workspace. So I'm going to start off by drawing a square. This little section is going to teach you the basics of an interactive PDF and how buttons work and things like that. So when you click on it, it's going to do something else essentially. So we've got two, and I used Alt or Option to drag and copy it across. If I click on buttons and forms, I can convert this to a button. It's just a standard button. Preferably name your button. Do the same thing for the second one. And there we go. I'm going to name my first square, square 1. I'm going to change the color of square 2. And I'm going to call it red square. So there are 3 different states for user interactivity. There's rollover, where it does this, and there's also a click. See that? It clicks and something happens. What we're going to do is change the states on these. Standard is just when the shape's casually there, doing nothing. Rollover is when the mouse cursor rolls over it. And click is when you actually click the cursor. This is basically just going to give us a little bit of user interface feedback, so you know exactly what you're doing. You don't have to do this, but it does make it a little bit more convenient for whoever's going to use it. What I'm doing here is changing it so when I roll over it, the opacity changes, and when you click it, the opacity changes even more. When you roll off it, it goes back to standard. Due to the way InDesign works, it's quite difficult to preview it easily without saving it. There is an Epub Preview, which is this little option here, which you can get fairly easily, but it doesn't show you opacity effects or anything like that. See that? It looks exactly the same as it does. So what we're going to do is we're going to make these squares do something. Hide that. So this one, go buttons and forms, we can add actions to these buttons. This one's an on click, so when I click it, I want it to do something. I can select options here, so I can show hide buttons and forms. And basically, when I click the blue button, or the blue square, I want it to make the red square appear. So you've got a little option down here, you've got 3 different eyes. You've got a regular eye, you've got an eye with a slash through it, and you've got an X. If you press the eye with a slash through it, that means it's going to hide it. If you have the open eye, that means it's visible. And if you have the X, that means it's doing nothing to that object at all. So with this in mind, if you click on the blue square, you want to make sure that the red square has a visible eye on it, or the eye without the slash. And the blue square has the X, which means nothing's going to happen to it. Now we've got the incredibly important hidden until triggered option. Basically, this means that the red square will be hidden until something tells it to appear. This is in the buttons option, and make sure that's ticked. Otherwise, you're kind of stuck with it there all the time. So when you've done that, what you need to do is open up the preview, preferably the Epub or the SWF, whichever is good. Click the play button, click on it, and if it works, congratulations, you've done it. That's the real basic of creating a simple button in an interactive video. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to create one more button and do this on rollover, on roll on, roll off. So the green one, whenever I roll over the red one, after it's been clicked by the blue one, we're going to use the option to create a roll off. So first of all, I'm going to convert it to a button and change the name. Please do remember to change the names on these, as they can get incredibly complicated very quickly. I recommend keeping some notes by you. So this is obviously going to be hidden until triggered, otherwise it's just going to be on and everything we do before it is going to be meaningless, so that needs to be on. As I said, this can get very complicated. So we're on the red button. Basically, when it's on rollover, it's going to change the visibility, so show hide buttons and forms. There we go, nothing's going to happen to the first one. Nothing's going to happen to the second one, and the green one's going to be visible. So on roll off, we need to do the same thing, but obviously when we roll off it, we need to make sure it's invisible using the eye with a slash through it. When you've done that, check the Epub Preview or SWF, click on play. So click, hover, perfect. That works perfectly. So there's going to be a second part coming very, very soon about doing some more complicated things. But as it is, please give that a go and have a play. Thanks, guys.